Hey everybody, welcome back. This is our 1999 Chevrolet S10 Xtreme, and this is what we're doing to it. So when I get a car in, usually I end up letting it sit for a little while I look at different ideas, different cars for sale, things I like and don't like about other vehicles for sale. And that kind of gives me an idea of what direction I want to go with what I'm doing. From there, usually I end up looking over the vehicle to see what exactly it needs. So walking around it, you can tell it's sitting pretty low. I know somebody already put a lowering kit on it, but we need to kind of check into that a little bit. I'm not exactly sure how I like the fitment back here with this wheel and tire, how it's kind of tucked up underneath. This thing does have a few issues, as you can see down the side of it. We might end up replacing this driver's side door. If you can see this crease right here, it looks like this door was bent backwards at some point in time. As well as there's little door dings all down the side here. There's another little crease here. From there, we have a hole right here in the bedside. Not sure how that got there. Well, then we have a few chips, things like that. Our taillights are pretty disgusting. You can tell they're kind of fading, cracking a little bit. You can tell some repairs have been done on this lower body kit down here, and that will need some attention. As well as at some point it was swapped to a chrome grille and they painted over it. That's not factory at all. So we'll end up getting a black grille for this and painting it to match. As well as we'll probably get a whole new lower valance. If you look down here, you can see some repair work all through the bottom. As well as it's coming off a little bit from the bumper. It actually looks like the whole bumper's kind of tweaked a little bit and needs some adjustment. As you can see, it's hanging off a little bit over here. And then we have more damage along the bottom. And this side of the truck is pretty straight. There's a little ding or two in it. Nothing serious on this side. On the passenger side, rear quarter, we do have some little damage down here. As you can see, it's cracked and split. But if you look close, you can see it's been painted before. There's some kind of runs down here. As well as this taillight is pretty nasty. On the rear end of our truck here, I'm not sure how well it will really show up because it is a white vehicle. But there's a nice crease right through here. I don't know if you can see that line where it's darker. There's a nice little crease across probably 3/4 of the tailgate. As well as down here on the rear roll pan, somebody installed a tow package on it. And it's bending this roll pan up. I don't know if we can really get a good angle on that. As far as the inside, this is crank windows. As you can see, the door panel is a little faded up here. So we'll probably have to figure out something with the door panels. Maybe we'll reupholstery some of it. As you can see, our seats, they're all right, but a lot of the foam is kind of crushed out of it. I'm guessing just with age, people sitting on it, things like that. And we do have a dash. Somebody painted it at some point. But as you can see, it's kind of peeling. All the paint's peeling off of it. So we'll have to address that. Our headliner's pretty nice, though. Over here, our console works pretty well. The cushion for the top is a little squished, so we might need to figure out something with that and do something there. a cassette holder, CD holder, something to that extent. As you can see over here, somebody rigged something together. I'm not quite sure what this does. The dash is kind of pulled out a little bit, but our emergency brake does not work. As you can see, it comes right back up. It does not put the emergency brake on. And our brake release handle is just kind of floppy in here. So, this is all a few things we'll have to address with this if we decide to go further with it. Also, if you can see that, we need hinge pins. So this door does hit on the cab a little bit. Alright, so under here we have the 4.3 V6. And this is one of those vehicles where if the air intake is a little bit loose and air's getting in there, it will cause a horrible misfire in these. You can see all the sensors in here, your mass airflow and whatnot. It's all looking pretty old, outdated. We do have some new Daco hoses on our heater core though. That's kind of interesting. So we'll have to look into that a little bit and see if our heater core has been replaced possibly, or if it was just the hoses. But as you can see, pretty much everything is old and crusty. There's no new parts on here. Our pulley's pretty grooved out there as well. So, this is looking like a complete overhaul of this thing. And our battery is from Rural King. And it is from June of 2020. I don't know if you can see that label down there. That's kind of the gist of it under the hood as far as what we're working with. Washer fluid is empty pretty much. All right, under here, as you can see, we have a few leaks. So, from what I can gather, our steering box is leaking, our oil pan is leaking, as well as a few other spots. As you can see, it all dripping down through here. And it also runs down the tie rod and is dripping from the tie rod grease fitting. Our ball joints are pretty much shot. As you can see, that one's busted with the grease coming out of it, as well as this one down here. So we'll probably be replacing the whole front suspension, our steering components, you know, the pitman arm, idler arm, see how far we need to go. As well as we'll probably go ahead and do our tie rods, shocks. But that's pretty much what the front end is going to require. All right, as for under here, as you can see, it's really not too bad. There's minimal surface rust on everything. As you can see, somebody cut that. It looks like with a torch. I don't quite understand that one. And it looks like they took a cutoff wheel to it too. But we will get this thing figured out. One thing's for sure, this exhaust has to go. So one thing I was looking at, our passenger side actually sits about an inch higher than our driver's side. Not sure what that's about, but we'll have to look into that and see what's going on. First of all, we're going to start out with new headlights and taillights, probably do some LEDs in the back. We might paint it and change the color. Let me know in the comments down below if you think we should go black or GM laser blue or Riptide blue. Those would probably be some of the main options we'd be looking at, or we can leave it white. But I'm thinking maybe we put some racing seats in it, change the door panels. Should we do a power conversion on it? Leave it crank windows. We'll probably end up doing something with the motor. I just have to look into it a little bit and see what our options are. We'll definitely be doing some cosmetics on it, replacing a lot of the damaged ground effects and things like that. Our grill. We'll probably end up replacing this door just because it's so creased and bent out. You know, I can probably get a door for 50 bucks. It's not really worth the time and effort trying to save this one. We'll probably end up redoing the suspension on it. Let me know in the comments down below as well if you want to see us air this thing out and do 4-link in the rear. That could probably be an interesting little option for us on this thing, because we won't really be towing or anything like that. We're definitely going to take a tow hitch off the back. It's a little S10 regular cab. I don't see us towing with it ever at all. We'll probably lower it a little bit, maybe air, maybe static, do some 20s on it, get it a little bit lower, do some dual exhaust out the back, right in that rear valance, maybe pop a hole on either side. All right, so kind of my general idea for this would be to paint it a color, keep the original style hood and do like the SS stripes like these originally had on them when they came out. This one did not have the stripes on it that I'm aware of, but it would be pretty cool to put them on just to add some detail to it, and then bring them back down the back as well. From there, we'll probably take this hitch out and do maybe dual exhaust popped out the rear roll pan. Bring the stripes down the tailgate a little bit. But my other idea was possibly doing like the 90s mini truck airbrush paint job on it, just to do something a little different. We could do the two-tone, if you remember those, where it had kind of like a check down the side that divided it. But there's a few different options we could go with. I think the biggest kind of choice right now will be colors and which way we should really go. I think one other thing would be changing out the mirrors on these to doing more of the low profile sport mirrors. I don't know if you remember the, I think it was street scene mirrors back in the day that they had with these. Something more like that would probably be my choice. And going sport truck with this thing. So that's all for today's video. Be sure to leave comments down below as to what direction y'all would like to see this thing go.